Hey, good morning, everybody. Here we are again for another Cars and Coffee. And if you're a car guy, want to learn some tech stuff, want to have questions answered, this is the place. I mean, what I do is I share my experience of like 40 plus years professional motorsports and building great cars. And today we've got a really good show, emphasizing on last week. We showed some nostalgia stuff. People like that, so we're going to continue that. I've got some cool things to show you today, but we've got a great lineup. And a lot of this just kind of happened this week. One of the things, we got people asking a lot about driving tips, and I'm going to go over the 6 most common driving mistakes people make. And it's something I ran across this article by Ross Bentley, who, if you don't know who Ross Bentley is, I suggest you check him out. Smart guy, knows a lot of things, does a lot of stuff online on driving. Anyway, I thought that was really great because it kind of mirrors what we've been talking about, especially in the Speed Therapy Academy. We talked about driving. A lot of the same things are right in here. And we borrowed for a little Aero talk. People know about Aero. I borrowed the rear diffuser off of Cliff's car. So thanks, Cliff, for letting us use it this morning. And by luck, we've got another custom triple pass radiator that just happened to be here. And I'll tell you about that later. And don't forget my 15-minute consults. If you got tech question, if you want to know what to do first, what to do next, what to do, sign up for a 15-minute tech session. Anybody that's done it will tell you it's a great experience. Easy to talk to, and if I know the answer for what you're talking about, I'll tell you. If I don't, there's no BS. I got an engineering mind. It's just impossible of doing BS. Okay, and again, share, thumbs up. You can start, for those on Facebook, you can start a share party by just clicking something on the screen. I'm not looking at the screen, but I'm sure you can find it. If you like what I'm doing, if you think some of your friends will like it, please invite them and subscribe to the newsletter. You might notice that we're doing a lot different this year on newsletter. We're really stepping it up and putting a lot more information out there, make it more entertaining. So if you're not signed up, sign up. If you're not in the Speed Therapy Society, please sign up for that, because that's where the questions that I answer come from the Speed Therapy Society. Also, that's going to be the next group that gets to see my new suspension. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. So I just blew through page 1. I'm doing really good. Carrie didn't have to come up once and tell me what to do. Okay, this month's artwork is still, this is Carrie's choice. We were digging stuff out. We moved and we got tons of boxes and stuff all over the place. And we're unearthing a lot of things, and that came up, and that's one of our favorites. So that's actually me in the Red Rocket, the 289 RS, back in about 96, 97, somewhere in there. I'll talk more about the Red Rocket here in a little bit. And we've got some questions. With good questions, and I'm going to just feed right into what we're going to talk about today. Remember, I talk about what you want to know about. The first question, this is a multi question. It's from Greg, Chris, and Larry. All of them want to know, can you put an IRS in S197? The answer is yes. Is it financially feasible? The answer is no. Something we looked at to do an IRS in S197, nothing really fits, so it'll be a clean piece. For me, it'll be a clean piece of paper. And the amount of investment in time, money, and people, you start looking at that, working it out. It's not, because I would not want to use like the SN95, like the Cobra IRS. I definitely would not want to use the new 550 IRS. It's a great IRS in the 50 cars, but you take it out and put it in something else, and without all the nanny help, it can be kind of problematic. Although it's a really tight, nice package thing. But if I was going to do an IRS, it'd be a clean sheet of paper. It'd be based off of race cars. So no IRS. However, I do have this new suspension thing that I've been working on for a very, very long time. And I'm hoping to introduce it sometime this month. I mean, I keep putting it off, but the reason is I introduced it first to the Speed Therapy Academy guys, okay? And they went wild over it. But what I showed them was just a prototype. And we spent over 2 years testing prototypes for durability and performance. And we made several updates to that process. But when we go to production, we wanted to take our updates one step further to improve long-term durability. And when we did, it's kind of like we had to move some things around. It's like, oh God, we moved this. Oh, that's good. Oh, wait a second. Now we have to move this. Now oh God, now we move this. So it's taken us a little while. Plus we had some issues fitting the cars. We have 4 different S197s, and it fit 4 different chassis. It didn't fit any 2 chassis the same. So we had to do a lot of work, kind of come up with a compromise that fits most chassis. And what I want to do is actually want to show you guys the real one, not just the prototype. We've made a bunch of changes. And it'll be pretty soon because we're like down to the last bit of final fitting. Our strategy, we're going to build 4. We've got 3 cars here that we can test fit on. And then we've got Wes, who's going to do a test fit and install instructions. So once we get those, everything going, I'll show you one of those. And then we're going to go to production. And the first 10 guys get theirs. And then we'll introduce it to the Speech Therapy Society. Give those people an opportunity to see it. And if they're interested, purchase one. And then it's probably in spring, I'll introduce it to the general public. But I like to take care of you guys. The Speech Therapy Academy guys are special groups, so they got special treatment. The society people, another special group. So you're going to get special treatment on this, and then the rest of the public, we're just going to have to wait. So no IRS, but what I've got coming will blow your mind. Okay, Tony wants to know, what do I recommend installing first, the front or rear IRS suspension? I'm guessing that's on a Fox SN95, whatever. All Mustangs. Mustangs are, a pony car from the 60s, basically. They're got a heavy nose with a big V8 engine, lots of power, and the back of the car is always a problem. It's always been loose, always hard to tie down. The S197s, we completely fixed that with the rear grip kit, rear grip kit 1. It's just we changed all the geometry, the back of the car just hooks up. Now, IRS cars, you got the wheel hop, and they've got this nasty thing called roll steer. When the body rolls so much, the rear wheels steer the wrong way. And I'm actually talking about how I can command that a little bit later. So my suggestion is start with the back. And start with the IRS. We've got the phase 1 kit, which is the forward torque brace, the aluminum diff bushings, which are not only solid, but they're kind of like layered, kind of like a heat sink to help pull heat out. Plus, we can add pinion angle, which takes any driveline vibration you might have, it takes it out. And the rear steer kit, which helps mitigate the little bit of steer in the back that happens when the car leans and wheels go the wrong way. So that's like phase 1, and then phase 2 is the 2-year lower controller and coilover shock. At that point, we're putting a real shock absorber in the back and real springs. And the springs everybody that has gotten like coilover shocks from me know that I individually select the springs just for your application. And when you get them, the springs are assembled. There's a pre-adjustment on there, there's a setup sheet, and then some just basic tuning notes. So, those phase 1 and phase 2 just really change the back of the car. The phase 3 is adding the tubular upper control arm, which saves quite a bit of weight. And then phase 4 is, if you're really serious, we take the carrier and we just change all the pickup points, completely change the rear geometry. We get, the camber curves are better. We put the roll center exactly where I want it. And then that's an important thing. And then we also take all the roll steer out by moving the inner point down even further. So I'd start with the back. You can do it steps or you can do it all at once. And then when you get the back of the car hooked up, then go to the front and put our front grip kit on. And you'll just have a wicked handling car. Again, the rear shocks are custom built for me to my specifications and my valving specifications, and the front struts are also built for me specifically to my valving specifications. And like I say, I pick the springs. It could be anywhere from a 350 to an 850, depending on how you're using the car. Also tires. Tires have a big impact on spring rates I choose. So that's the back of the car first. And then we'll move forward. Oh, even before that, for SM95 Fox chassis support. You got to get a matrix kit on there. It makes such a huge difference, not only in ride quality, in handling, everything. That's the very first thing we do to Fox SM95, and that's the double cross subframe connector, which we were the first to bring to market, our jacking rail on the outside, and then the matrix brace in between, which adds 4 full triangulations per side, which really, we've installed it, and they haven't got 100 feet or out of the driveway, and they'll call and say, God, it's a different car. So start with the chassis support, then work to the back. Here's a really interesting question. I know I'm going to get a lot of feedback on this. This is from Carl. Carl Wirtz. Is A.J. Foyt the greatest driver? Wow, what a question. I would say of his era, he was absolutely one of the greatest drivers.
Who else thinks? Who do they think is the greatest driver?
Huh?
Ask them who they think the greatest.
Oh yeah, Kerry said, who guys think the greatest driver? I mean, you got Fangio back then. I mean, you got Dan Gurney. Let's see, A.J. Foyt, of course, drove everything. How about Mario Andretti? You know, F1 World Championship. He's sprint cars, Indy cars, stock cars, endurance cars. I mean, there's so many people. Tom Christensen, 7-time winner of the 24 Hours of Daytona. Hamilton, 7-time world champion. There's a lot of really, really great drivers out there, but definitely for his era, A.J. Foyt was one of the best because he drove everything. He drove sprint cars. He drove stock cars. He drove Indy cars. He won 24 Hours of Daytona. I mean, the guy could jump in anything and be quick. So yeah, he's definitely one of the greatest drivers. I would put him in that category. But you guys can go. Parnelli Jones comes up. Hey, I worked with Parnelli Jones in the Saline program. We had Parnelli Jones and George Fulmer in the third car. Sometime I'll tell you some stories. I can tell you that those guys are definitely cut out of a different piece of cloth when it comes to racing, and that they're pretty interesting to work with.
There's some more there. Do you see that, Mario?
I said, Mario, I mean, he world champion, Indy cars, stock cars, sprint cars. And back then, all those drivers drove everything. They weren't just an Indy car driver or a stock car driver. They drove everything. Drivers today don't do that. So in a way, those older drivers are greater in their overall ability to do things.
AJ, you keep reading.
Dan Gurney, Danny Gurney and AJ, it's not up here, won the 24 Hours of Daytona. Let's see who else we have. Mario Parnelli, worked with him. I'll kind of move on. But
Ken Miles, I think you can't.
Oh yeah, Ken Miles. God, you can't forget Ken Miles. I mean, Ken Miles was the guy back in the Shelby days. I mean, he's the guy that made all those cars work. He could drive them. He could engineer them. He could do everything. I mean, he was an amazing driver, an amazing engineer. So, I mean, just keep setting in who you think. And what we'll do, we'll compile a list. And next week, we'll tell you how many people got which on a list. So send in your favorite drivers. Hey, you can enter this contest more than once. So, but the second half of it, this is interesting. The second half of Carl Wirtz's question is Smokey Unit the greatest auto mind? I would say for his time, yes, absolutely yes. The guy was amazing. The things that he did with cars, actually, I knew Smokey Unit. He used to call me Brownie, and that's a name I totally detest, but he is the only person in the world I let him call me Brownie. So, but he, what a guy he was. And he built like a 7/8 size NASCAR, and nobody could figure out why it was different until I started measuring it. I mean, he was for his time, he was an incredible automotive mind. So if you guys think of anybody else, send them in. We'll run another contest for who's the greatest automotive mind. Don't forget Roger Penske. When it comes to like a mind, the guy's got it all. So, okay, that kind of wraps up our questions. Don't send in questions. We got questions. Don't forget to send them in. Calvin, I see you there. Calvin, I see you up there. Calvin's behind the car in case you don't know it. That was 96, 97. This whole nostalgia thing, we've been unpacking boxes because we got a house with a big basement, so we bring things out of storage, and it's just so many memories keep coming back. And we're gonna, like I say, I'm glad you guys are interested in some of that, because I'm gonna just keep every week I'll pull something else up. But in a minute, I'm gonna show you just how prolific we were in the media back in. I think this is from what years were it from? It's I think 97 to 04. I'm going to show you just how prolific we were. So
six steps first.
So yeah, we're going to move on to our subject matter. This is the 6 most common mistakes of driving. Like I say, this is from Ross Bentley. If you don't know who he is, look him up. Really, really smart guy. He does a lot of like driving things online, workshops and blogs and things like that. Yeah, I highly recommend finding him. But I mean, his 6 things are exactly what I talked about with our speed therapy academy or speed academy guys on when we got to the driving part. Okay, first one, the low eyes. These are common mistakes. People start driving on track. These are the mistakes everybody makes. Absolutely everybody. So when I talk to people about improving their driving, they get bummed out. They're doing this. Come on, everybody does this. So, one of the things is low eyes. People, when they first driving, they're tense. They're kind of looking down. They're looking more at the dash than out, or looking at the road right in front of them. And what you need to be doing, you need to be looking out, way out, because the car will go wherever you're looking. Okay, and if you're looking down, I mean, you're only seeing what's a little bit in front of you. You're not getting the full picture. You need to train your eyes to get up and look, because once you start looking way ahead, then what's close just is this peripheral, and it just comes to you. You don't even have to look at it. But when you look ahead, you can see where the next corner is. Sometimes, as we talked about in the academy, you need to use one corner to set up another corner, or sometimes there's 3 in a row, and how you have to use the first corner to set the second corner up, and the second corner, third corner up. But you need to be looking down the track. Now here's another one. Absolutely everybody I've ever taught, I've ever coached, does this: early apex. And what is the early apex? Early apex is when you turn into a corner too soon. Now on a corner, I don't know if I can draw this or not. No, I'm terrible artist. My son is Adam is the artist. Okay, that's not exactly what I wanted, but it's close enough. So the theoretical apex is if it's an arc. The theoretical apex is, let's say, like right here. That should have to go down a little bit. Right there, so that you get this nice, smooth arc. Okay, when you early apex, it means we use red, because that's the bad thing. Can you even see that?
Yeah, you can see it.
Okay. When you early apex, what you're doing is you're turning in down here, and when you do that, your car goes off the track. If you turn into a corner and you run out of track on the end, that was an early apex. Then you keep moving your apexes lower and lower and lower. And if you're in a Mustang, ignore the theoretical apex. And what you're looking for, I got green. What you're looking for is a late apex. Let's say this is your late apex right here. Why a late apex? I engineer my suspension, the AGS 4.0 for S197s, for everything's about a corner. The anti-dive in the front, the anti-squat in the back means you can brake later than anybody else, and that's time, pickup time. The geometry in the front gets real crisp turn in, so when you turn the wheel, it turns. And then between what we do with the roll centers, the rear geometry, you can get back to the gas sooner and get off the corner, because everything is always about corner exit speed. Not corner entry speed, corner exit speed. So by doing a late apex, what happens is you come in really late, and by the time you get the apex, you're looking straight down the track. It means you're on the gas back here, and you're going straight down the track. If you do an early apex, the only way to survive is to take your foot off the gas and slow down. If you do a normal apex, then you're getting to the gas way down here. If you do a late apex in a Mustang, especially my suspension, you're on the gas sooner. So early apex, everybody does. So I mean, it's if you when you turn, if you're at the edge of the road on the corner exit, that was an early apex. So you can actually monitor yourself. Here's another one: not using the brake hard enough through threshold braking. People, when they first start, they're pretty tentative on the brakes. I mean, there are two types of braking style. I refer to it as threshold braking. Now, what Ross is talking about is threshold braking for racing. That's taking it up to the absolute very last second. If you're in Formula One, it's the last millisecond, and you just stand on the brakes and you get that nose buried and you turn through the corner. If you do that in track day driving, you're going to go through a set of brake pads a weekend and a set of rotors every other week. I mean, it's not worth it. I mean, Roger Penske's never up in the tower scouting for drivers. So I mean, it's just the way I brake. And I talk about this in the academy. It's kind of like if there was a braking curve, I start slowly and then just keep more and more pressure. At the very end, to get a really hard stab, tire set and turn. And I make brake pads and rotors last a long time, and I'm really, really quick. So that's the thing is, like, when you first start braking, you don't brake enough, and then some people just go crazy and just threshold brake and burn up their brakes. But I mean, you've got to get your braking worked out, and that's just one of the things you're just going to have to figure out. Depends on your car, the suspension geometry, and the brakes you have in their brake pads and tires. All that works into braking. And as I tell people that, what is a brake? What are brakes? Brakes are a heat generator. Brakes take the kinetic energy of a Mustang roaring down the track at 120 miles an hour, which is, a body in motion sends it stay in motion until acted upon by outside source. And stopping trees and guardrails and concrete walls are not the preferred method of stopping a Mustang. So what happens when you hit the brakes take that kinetic energy and turn it into heat energy, which is why we'll do a whole brake thing sometime. And that's why brakes get hot. You've got to have the right brake pads, brake pad compound to cover the heat range that your brakes are at. You need, if you're serious, you have to have brake cooling ducts because you burn up brakes. But that's a whole nother subject. Okay, here's his next one: getting on the gas too soon or too hard. Everybody in a Mustang knows when you go around a corner, what happens if you get to the gas too soon. What is it? Oversteer. When the back of the car hits the wall first. That's because in a stock Mustang, there's no real geometry back there, and the back of the car is light. And if you get to the gas too soon, what you're doing is you haven't waited for the axle to settle. Okay, when you go around the corner in a Mustang, because it's live axle, you sort of have to wait for the axle to settle. You wait until you can ease the gas in and then put your foot down. And you put that down too soon, back of the car goes away. On IRS cars, it's not quite as critical, but you still have that little bit of a wait before you can get back to the gas. But getting too much gas too soon, you're going to overload the outside tire. It's going to break loose. The car is going to either get a little loose and do a tank slapper, or you're going to back into the wall. So getting on the gas too soon, too hard. Although, like I say, with the S197 suspension we have, and also the suspension in the SN95 IRS, and I will also say with the 550 cars, they've got a great suspension. But what we do with our shock and spring package, you can get to the gas sooner than a live axle car. So that's kind of like that's the getting the gas too soon. Now here's another big one: not using all the track. When we're doing our driving critique in the academy, Joe Johnson had a video of Eagle Canyon, I think it is, his most favorite track. And what he was doing. I mean, if he were a real estate agent, he'd be a really bad real estate agent because he was giving up real estate. So we talked about how you can use more of the road. When you use more of the road, I mean, the road's all there. It's all yours. You can go edge to edge, really not go off. but you go edge to edge. And if before you turn into a corner, you want to make sure you're absolute outside edge. You want to use all that road. Now, coming back through the turn, you want to use all the road, but not really all the road. You don't want to be drifting out the edge because that means you turn in too soon. But all the tracks all years use all the road. Here's another one: induced understeer by turning the wheel too soon or too sharp. I've seen people that they just can't get really understeer. And when you really get down to it, what they're doing is just turning in too soon. As soon as you turn in too soon, what happens is that's kind of like a shock load on the tires. They get overwhelmed, and there's not enough time for the car to take a set for them to grip, so they just push away. Steering through a corner should be smooth. Smooth is good. Back in my old shop, we used to have signs everywhere that said smooth is good. Basically, it should be smooth in, smooth out. None of this, because then you're going to be doing that. None of this in the middle. You want to be smooth in, smooth out. You wind in and you wind out. A lot of people can get understeer just by turning in too soon. And I've had some people that just have not been able to break that habit. So anyway, there's Ross Bentley 6 with a little narration from myself on driving tips. Let's see, rear diffuser. Let me do the radiator first because that's easier. We have to coordinate the Cliff's rear diffuser because it's kind of a big piece. But this radiator is kind of cool. Larry Martin ordered. We had a custom radiator, triple pass radiator made for him for his Fox. He is building absolute killer Fox. It's super wide body. He's running, I think, 335 tires all the way around. Has been getting rebuilt for full race, dedicated full race, aluminum, Windsor block, aluminum 302 block, stroked out, big power and everything. And you might remember, I mean, it may have been last week or the week before, Larry sent in a question like through the little feed here on brakes. I want to know about brakes. And what we did is they set him up with me for a 15-minute consult. Actually turned into a 45-minute consult. We worked through the whole thing, his car, what it was doing. I mean, what it came down to is he's always been having brake problems. And, my conclusion was really simple. It's a full-on race car. You need a full-on brake system, period. So we set him up with our Pro 4R race brakes front, which have, inch-thick brake pads, and our Pro 4R rear brakes, which have and the regular 6-piston pad, which is 0.71 thick. But he's got 9-inch ends in the back, which makes it really good because you always have trouble with C-clip axles with knockback if you hard mount big brakes in the back. So it's not a problem. And then, because he's gone all out, we're going to trash the factory system, the factory brake system. And I've got him set up with our spec Tilton pedals, 3 pedals on the floor. They come with the master cylinders and also the 3-part reservoir. So we're saying he's going to have a full-on, absolutely dedicated race brake system, and that's going to be really cool. Anyway, I kind of got off on a tangent talking about his cool car. He needed to cool it down, and you need to make sure he had really good cooling. So we had a custom Fox 3-pass triple pass radiator built for his Fox. You probably saw it sitting back here. First of all, look how thick that is. I mean, that's really, really thick. But the real beauty of our triple pass is the triple pass. Now you can see, this is the inlet. This is on the passenger side. You can see this little weld down here. Well, that represents the first segment. So water would flow all the way across to here. It would make a U-turn on this side. And can you kill the words at the bottom in the middle of the picture? Okay, anyway, and then you can see this little weld mark here. This is the bottom segment. So it comes all the way across and out the bottom. So 3 passes all the way across, which means you're getting optimizing water saturation on the coils. Another cool thing is we use a different size cooling fins. They're thinner than others, but because of that we get 17% more surface area for cooling. So triple pass, triple thick, you know, and 17 more percent. And what I like about the Fox radiator, you see this old-fashioned radiator cap. I just detest the radiator caps in these new cars. They say they're 17 pounds, but you know they don't work. And if anybody has found a high-pressure cap for the the SN95, S197s and 550s, please let me know. I'd love to find them, because when we run the standard radiator with a standard cap, we'll use at least a 27-pound radiator cap. A lot of the race guys will use like a 32-pound or 34-pound. I can't remember which. Why do I use such a high pressure? Because the more pressure in the cooling system, the higher the boiling point. So because we run like a 27-pound cap, we could easily run at 220, 225, 230 water temperature with no problem, no overheating issues. And I know a lot of race cars, they like to run in that 220, 230 range because they make a lot of power. For track day guys, I really don't like to see it get up that high. For a regular street car, I mean, you need to be 220 or less. 210 would be perfect. But anyway, with a pressurized radiator cap, you can really get the water hot, and it's not gonna be a problem. So, yeah, Larry. The story is it was supposed to be drop shipped directly to Larry, but it turned up here, I think Wednesday or Thursday, and we asked him, hey, can we borrow this for Cars and Coffee? So I want to thank him for letting us use his radiator. Carrie's coming up with a sign. I forgot this. Damn. If you're just joining us, I'm Kenny Brown. This is Cars and Coffee, where I share oodles and oodles of tech stuff that I've learned over a very, very long career. And it's just another sign. Oh, memorabilia. Carrie, you have to understand, Carrie is left-handed, and she writes left-handed. Unfortunately, my eyes are right-handed, so we always have kind of a conflict. So we're going to talk about some memorabilia. We stumbled across a bunch of articles in the basement that we've kind of mounted from over the years, and you really get to think. Before I had to take a bunch of time off for my health hiatus, you just forget how prolific we were in the media, in the magazines. So I dug back. It took me a while to find this, but I dug back this morning, and this is kind of a list of media, TV, magazines, online, everything. This is just between 97 and 04. So I'll kind of go down it real quick. This is page 1 is Marauder and 0304 Cobra. Next page is 4.2 CSR. It's Kermie with the stroked out V6 supercharged. And then the 3.8 special we had came around 01 Cobra, the 289 RS. One of those is back up there on the wall. That's why we supercharged a lot of Cobras back then, but because the ringland is so thin at the top, just a little bit of bad gas, they burn a piston. When they did, we just rebuild them with hard parts, forged rods and forged pistons, and bored them to 289. We thought that was a really clever number. Okay, this is Crown Victoria Panther, Windstar, Durango Dakota, Expedition Navigator F-150.
Actually, just real quick, if you're not showing pictures of those, but if you go on to the Kenny Brown Performance page, where you are right now, Kenny Brown Performance Facebook page, Brad did a little expose over the holidays showing all the favorite cars out of this group.
Here we go.
So you can see a visual.
Yeah, Brad. Also, he did a thing. Unbeknownst to me, he did a whole thing on a bunch of the drivers I've worked with over the years, and that was kind of cool. So here we go. This supercharged Explorer, Cobra C4S, supercharged Thunderbird, Camaro. This is the BASF car. We did this was kind of like a special car for Super Ford magazine and BASF, and then being up at SEMA. This is on a driving school. I think next week we might show some driving school pictures. Yeah, let's see. This is the CSRR race cars back in 03. Aluminum rated diff bushings, or we used to do black chrome wheels, AGS suspension, matrix system. Surprised, aren't you? We're not done. IRS rear steer kit, Cobra R strut tower brace, suspension, front suspension module, rear suspension module. This is for SN95, V6 chassis stiffening, Cobra suspension package, Mustang strut tower brace, double diamond subframe connectors. Those were for Camaros. Camaro fiber strut tower brace, caster plus, F body has Camaro suspension pieces, double Y subframe connectors. That was for the earlier Camaros. Lower chassis, lower control arms, Ford and GM, just the rear upper control arms, track kit plus, race springs, super street cages, 4.6 engine parts, ground steering box. I'm hurrying. Almost done. Camaro, Panner Bar, Thunderbird product line, Dakota, Club, K-Run Expert, who would guess? Anyway, we had a lot. We were in a lot of media. So I brought a couple of things this week. This first one is, this is the FR500. Ford Racing built. Remember I talked about the FR500 engine parts I had from the FR500 program. This is one of the cars, and what they did is it's got an extended wheelbase and double wishbone front and IRS rear, and it had the FR500 engine package. I had a prototype 4.6 FR500 with the magnesium intake and FR500 heads, and the later ones were 5-liter. That car is how I figured out the rear steer problem. We're testing at Road Atlanta with the media. It was the media day when this was done. This is 2000. And they had, all the media was there for cars, Mustang and the other media. And the only non-media people there were myself, Rusty Wallace, and Max Pappas as the special guest drivers. And I noticed at the end, at the double right-hand turn at the other end of Road Atlanta, at the same spot every time the back of the car would get loose, and the same thing under the bridge, which is the scary part. And when I came back, I looked it up. I started doing geometry, and that's when I discovered that at a certain point of rear roll, both rear wheels turn the wrong way. So that's how the whole rear steer thing came about. But that's the engine. That's the engine and car program that I worked with Ford Racing with in the early 2000s. And seeing as we're talking about Larry's Fox, this is by Jeff Cox, KOCH, and Dan Cook. 93 Cobra is proof that lateral G's mean grins while going around turns in a Kenny Brown Cobra with track pack car. So that was one of our Cobras in 93, obviously. And this is another interesting story. This is the cover story for Motor Trend. And you can see Super LX. It's Super LX, and that was actually a replacement car. It was a cover story. We knew it was a cover story. We had just an amazing car. It was a supercharged Fox, obviously. It had a cage in it, big motor. I think it was 352. It stroked at 302, and it was a killer car. IRS in the back. I stopped off the day before the Motor Trend. We're supposed to show up at the Motor Trend proving grounds. Do the carbon drive. No, this is Motor Trend.
Okay, never mind. Okay.
This is Motor Trend. Okay. I got a bunch of other car drivers. Motor Trend. I stopped by Car Driver to just give them kind of like a courtesy call. Hey, look at this cool car. And one of their editors took it for a ride. And his driving skills and writing skills are a pretty big gap. As it turns out, going on ramp onto whatever.
Doesn't matter.
And anyway, he did an early apex, okay? And the car just kept drifting out, off the road, down a gully, up a gully, into a concrete barrier, and flipped over and over. That was our cover car. Yeah, slid 100 yards on its roof with me in it. So obviously we couldn't make the Motor Trend date the next day. So we talked with them, and they were really, really conciliatory. And so what we did is we went back. We're still in Omaha. Then we went back, and a friend of mine had this Super LX. He was in Des Moines, so we borrowed that, just kind of tidied it up and got it ready, and went to Detroit and then or Ann Arbor and did that article for the cover of Motor Trend. Yeah, stuff happens, but that was not a good stuff happens. Okay, I got through radiator. I got through nostalgia. Oh, rear diffuser. Rear diffuser. Okay, what is a rear diffuser? This is a rear diffuser. And what it does, it goes underneath the rear bumper. Okay, I'm under the car right now. And there's this nice gentle curve up and these fins. And what it does, I mean, this is for an aftermarket diffuser, it's pretty good. For racing, we do a lot more things, but it's got to be pretty good. Now, the purpose of the rear diffuser is to the air that's coming underneath the car to give it a smooth exit, number one. And also these fins kind of keep it, if you ever look back at race cars, you got like 20 fins across it. That's to keep the air in a channel and not be turbulent. So what this has actually two functions, and this is, you might see these little slits in here. that's vents. So any positive air pressure that builds up on top of this from coming over it is exhausted up here. It'll actually pull it right out. Fast moving air will just pull any air out that's inside. The other thing it does is it really helps the efficiency of a rear wing. By letting the air be smoother out up the back of the car, the rear wing becomes more efficient because all the downforce on the rear wing comes from the bottom side. So it helps downforce and push the car down. So that's the rear diffuser, and I can wheel around like this. It's so light because it is carbon fiber. Okay.
And Wendy's asking whose diffuser this is. ARP.
ARP. We haven't like custom built. We can get you one. If you got just a standard GT bumper, they fit fine. On Cliff's car, because of an FR500S, they use the California special bumper cover. It has like these sort of pretend fins in the back. We actually had to cut them off just to get a real diffuser on there. So that's a little arrow, smoothing air out underneath the back of the car. So it reduces turbulence and it makes the rear wing more efficient. Okay, I think I've been through everything.
Yeah, we have a lot of comments and just a few questions. If you want to ask any questions, now is the time.
Any questions? Now's the time. Send them in there.
Okay, so our first question is from, I have to go all the way back up.
Our first question is
from, let's see, now I can't find it. Can you talk about something else while I'm finding this? Here, this isn't the first question, but I'll read Wendy's question. She's looking out further ahead. Oh, she's talking about driving. She's agreeing with it. Looking out ahead is good. It's an issue with pilots and operating boats if you don't look out ahead.
Yeah, Wendy actually has our stuff. And she's the one that says that after we put the front grip kit on and the rear grip kit, she said the car just pivots, which is what they're supposed to do. It's supposed to be a quick turn in. So.
And then.
She also instructs, and I think she flies planes.
Yeah.
So
she's on I think this is a question, on an earlier apex, what about corners that are too long and require a double apex or holding an inside line to track out at proper spot?
Okay, that's kind of a trick question, and it's like about double apex and turns that you have to hold inside and then track out. If it's a corner, it's a double apex. Now, everybody's got their own driving style. I tell people that if you got 3-5 different instructors, listen to what they say. Try what they tell you to do. If you like it, keep it. I mean, it's up to you to sort out through everybody's different style what works best for you. But for me, for a double apex, I solely focused on the second apex because that's my corner exit speed. And I'll do whatever I have to do to get that last apex right. If it's double apex, if it's inside, the first part of the double apex, I don't pay much attention to. I'm really focused on the second apex and getting off the corner. Now, for corners that are really that you kind of hold in track out, those are like sweeping corners. I'll give you an example. The carousel at Road America. That is a long sweeping corner that goes down and then tracks out. At Road America, what I do is I kind of put my car right in the middle of the track, and I just kind of feather the gas, going through all the way around. I can just on the edge, the back wanting to get loose. You just feel that, and as soon as I can see the inner curbs at the very end, I just put my foot down and aim right for those curbs because that's what I use for an apex. At Putnam, Dead Bear is kind of like a left uphill. I kind of do the same thing with the live axle cars. You kind of have to stay in the middle and then keep feeding in gas. And as soon as I see that last curve, I just head for it. With Curry and our SN95 IRS cars, you can, like Dead Bear, you can put it anywhere you want. You put inside, outside, doesn't matter. It just sticks. So I mean, there's a number of different ways, number of different corners to do. So hope that helps.
And then on driving as well, we have Dan Graham says certain racetracks like Road America greatly favor late apex and late apex.
I agree.
And then he also said, Dan also
turn 5 would be a late apex. Let's see, 6, you need to have kind of a late apex there. You find yourself in the grass. 7, I don't know. I just aim inside the curbs and kind of go across it. And then 8 would be another late apex.
And here's another one from Dan. He comments, I'm an SCCA rookie instructor. Braking early and soft is always an issue. Early apex is always an issue. Plunge braking is a learned art.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all this stuff, the early apex, getting the braking right. It's just seat time. There's nothing better to learn this stuff than seat time. And the most important thing is if you know it, then you can start thinking about how do I correct it and start working on different driving techniques. But it's just, practice.
And Cliff just reiterates your comment. Trees, guardrails, and concrete walls are not the preferred method of stopping. Every time Kenny says that, I just got to laugh. It's so darn true. And here's another question from Kobe Ward. I'm rebuilding my rear differential in my S197, upgrading to a True Track posi and using a finned cover. Is there anything else I should add, such as a catch can or cooler?
Yeah, it's the finned cover works really good. Great differential choice. If what you can do, if you think here's the thing, if your axle gets kind of like moist on the top, I think it's on the right side, it gets kind of moist with on the top side, you're just going to see a little nub that sticks up or kind of a little cap on it. That's the breather for the axle. And the purpose as a breather is as the rear axle gets hot, air expands. Air inside expands, the oil gets hot and gets really liquidy. And there has to be some place for that gas, that high pressure gas to escape, and that's the little thing on the top. Now on race cars, because we run them really, really hard and really, really long, for track cars, typically it is not as big a deal because they're only like 20-minute sessions. But for race cars, it is a big deal. And what we do is we'll take the factory thing off and then screw in a little brass nipple, and then take a hose and then we'll run it up with enough loop so it doesn't pull off if the axle goes down into the trunk, and then I'll do two circular loops and then into a cam. The reason for the 2 circular loops is that if it does blow some fluid into it, and it cools down, it'll suck that back into the diff. But that's how I do it. If for track days, and typically you don't need that. A IRS car, SN95 or 550, absolutely positively have to have a diff cooler, or it will burn up the diff, because all you got is little aluminum pumpkin mounted in rubber for the most part, although we mount the front solid with a heat sink. But there's no place for the heat to go. In a live axle car, you've got cast iron center, you've got metal tubes. There's a lot of surface area that the heat can be dissipated from. But an IRS, it's just there. So that's why we have diff coolers for IRS, and we're actually re-engineering our diff cooler package for 550s because the supplier we used to use went out of business. So we're working with the supplier we have been using for other things to come up with a new package for 550s, which we'll be introducing in the weeks to come, let's say.
And actually, we're going to try to get him on to be a guest on Cars and Coffee.
Oh.
He's pretty smart.
What's his name?
Yeah, Eric.
Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, our plumbing guy.
Mm-hmm.
He did a master class session for the academy, and he's going to be on.
Okay.
Also, I was talking about Aero. The G-Stream wing is back in production. For those who are unfamiliar with it, G-Stream wing is the absolutely most popular wing for club racing. It was developed by a NASA engineer and my late son, Paul, back a long time ago. And it is so efficient. Remember, I said on the FR500 S cars, one of the engineers decided needed wings, so they just got kind of like a cheap wing. And the joke was it made 19 pounds of downforce at 0 miles an hour. We actually added a rear lip clip, so it's actually going to make some downforce. But the wing, the hoods on the Boss 302 S cars and the rear wing, the front hoods were my son's Tiger hood, that were out of production. Now another company's building one just about like it, and we can get those. And the G-Stream wing. The G-Stream wing, as some of you know, was out of production for quite a while. The guy that had it, it was kind of like with Paul. He said that, he would just build the parts and make everything go, and Paul would do all the marketing and sales. And with Paul not being there, it just was kind of like a downer for him. So he just stopped doing it, and somebody else has picked it up. And we're actually going to have him on in a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. Is that true? Yep. To talk to you about the G-Stream wing being back in production. Yeah. So
that should be a really interesting.
Yeah, for club racing, I mean that's the bomb.
Okay, so Roy Wallace, this is back to when you were talking about Colby's question about the True Track and whether you need catch can. So Roy Wallace says that Longacre makes a really nice compact breather kit.
Oh, there you go. Good tip.
Joe Johnson has a question. Now, you realize he just ordered one of your radiators, triple pass radiator. Yeah. He pulled the trigger on it. What is the coolant capacity of the triple pass radiator for the 2020 Shelby GT350?
I don't know. That's it. Unfortunately, I have no idea. It's until it's full.
We can probably find that out.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever really paid attention. I mean, I don't. The guys back in the shop put the radiator fluid in and water in it. I've never really paid attention. Pretty much, you can look up under specs what the capacity is, and probably add at least a quart and a half for the triple pass.
And then we also have from Thomas Jenkins. Do you remember the Kenny Brown Crown Victoria? I'm interested how the frame braces pattern.
Yeah, actually, here's how the frame braces for the Crown Vic came to be. We had an association with O'Gara Hess back a long, long time ago. And there was people who built armor cars. And they were building a series of Crown Vics to go someplace that where sand is, let's say. And they're adding a lot of armoring.
Overseas sand.
Overseas sand. Not like Palm Beach or anything. Overseas sand. And because the cars were a lot heavier, they brought them to us. We did under chassis bracing to stiffen up the frame. We also did a whole bracing thing in the front and made it the front. You had the the compression bumpers for you know for regulatory. They happen to have a 5 mile impact. We made it solid. We made an absolute solid bumper frame in the front so they could push anything. So we did the whole bumper frame, strength in the front, strength in the middle of the chassis. And I would have to go back and look because I don't remember.
Okay. So why don't you give us a call in? Or
Yeah,
instant
remind me.
messages?
Yes, I'm trying to figure where we have that information. I'll have to go back to the Gary Hess files. And we can
Probably
find
in our basement.
it. In a basement with everything else, yeah.
Okay. Interesting with O'Gare Hess. I don't know if you can share what they had to build the cars spec to. Do you remember they had to take so much of a ammunition charge and
Oh yeah, I mean
And-
these cars were
be able to walk?
the armoring on that was up through like rifle, I think heavy rifle. I can't remember with heavy rounds, but the glass, the size, everything. Plus, they did the underneath of the car, so you couldn't blow it up from the bottom. And the tires were trick tires. If you shoot at the tires, there's another solid inside that they can roll on. So I'll tell you, what they brought us one car that was a real doozy. This was a Cadillac, big Cadillac. And it didn't weigh a ton. It had to weigh 3 or 4 tons. And it just, I mean, you drive the thing and just like, holy crap. And we wouldn't drive at all. It's just say when it take 2 hands to open a door and the glass was this thick, okay? And so what we ended up doing to make it work, we put the front suspension off of a 3/4 ton GM truck under the front with better springs and better shocks, and the same thing in the back. So we had to put like a 3/4 ton truck suspension underneath this Cadillac. When we got done, man, it drove great. I mean, it was heavy, but it would turn and it would stop and not wallow. But yeah, just the glass was this thick on the side doors.
I couldn't even open and shut the door.
Yeah, Carrie
by
couldn't even
myself.
open and shut the door by herself.
It's pretty thick. Okay, so enough with that. We have Dan Gramza is also asking about the triple pass. Does it fit a 2011 GT500? He has a lot of plumbing in the front.
Yes, it drops right in. It basically is an OE replacement. It just drops right in.
Okay, and this is coming up. I think we have 2 questions left. And if you like what Kenny's sharing, why don't you give us some thumbs up?
Oh yes, some thumbs up and some love. We love love and thumbs.
So, or some likes, I guess they're called
Likes.
Yeah. So, Kevin Williams recommended spring shock setup for a 91 Fox with SLA front and IRS KB rear for NASA AIX racing. You know who Kevin Williams is?
Who's Kevin?
He's related to, oh man, I just spoke to him, Dennis and Mark Wilson and
Oh, yeah, Brian Tone.
Brian Tone, and his dad's name is Dennis. Yeah. So
Is this the car? I wonder.
No, this is a Fox, but they own that car still.
Okay.
And the Brian Tone, Mark Wilson.
Yeah, he's supposed to send some pictures.
Yeah, he already put some on Facebook.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Cool.
of his Fox. Yeah. So anyway, he's related to that family. So anyway, and he's being deployed in another month. So
Good for you.
Thank you for your service. Okay, so anyway, recommended spring shock setup for 91 Fox with SLA front and IRS KB rear for NASA AIX racing.
Call and get a 15-minute. I got what you need. It's pretty simple. I just need to know more information, kind of like the way the car, the tires are running, and I'll get you fixed up.
Okay, and here,
With a double adjustable front and your choice of either double or single adjustable rear.
and this is Kyle Wagner. He has a question. This is the last question of the day. My 08 GT currently has polyurethane bushings, tubular rear upper control arms, adjustable shocks, struts, stiffer springs. It is mostly just for hard mountain road racing and occasional track days. If you could only pick one, which would you recommend to improve the car's handling? Your front grip kit, your rear grip kit, or your triangulated chassis bracing?
Chassis bracing is just a given for sure, but you got to do the rear grip kit. You got to get the back of the car to settle down. I mean, that's kind of the worst thing, especially if you got polyurethane bushings in the back. You got to get rid of them. I mean, they need to go in the trash can. The reason is polyurethane is a real solid stuff. I mean, for things that go straight up and down, it's perfect. It'll work perfect. But for like rear lower control arms, they're terrible. And the reason I say that is because your rear axle has to articulate. It's got to move. If you want the back of the car to work, the back axle's got to move. And if you have a polyurethane bushing in the rear lower control arm, just try to twist it. You can't twist it, and you want the axle to move. So because they don't twist, cars with urethane in the back get really, really loose. So rear grip kit, absolutely, just completely changed the car.
Okay, and if you are watching through YouTube, welcome and subscribe to Kenny's channel, and you will get notification.
Yeah, you know what you can do for YouTube?
All right.
When I go on some YouTube things, come up with this little sign comes up, and there's like a thumbs up, a little subscribe, and a bell. And a little pointer comes up, and it clicks on the clicks on the thumbs up. It clicks on the subscribe. It clicks on the bell, and then it goes down.
Oh, so that's what. So you don't have to remember to say it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see if we can get our marketing team to work on that. So okay. So that was it for the questions. Great session, Kenny.
I think I got everything covered. Yeah.
Oh, Tim Allen has one more question. Kenny Brown rear grip kit or new KB tech coming soon? Yes, I think he's talking about the K-Link. So
say that. What's the question again?
KB rear grip kit or new KB tech coming soon?
Okay, I'll give you a little teeny. Anyway, nobody's listening. It's going to be called a rear grip kit 2. You're the first to know.
Okay, cool. So we'll see you guys next week.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for joining us. I had a good time. I hope you had a good time. Send in your questions. Let me know what you want to talk about. And as cool things come in, I'll do them in show and tell and just show you what my life is like almost on a daily basis. So anyway, thanks for joining us. Click the thumbs up button, click the subscribe button, click the bell. I just keep saying that. Why don't we do that? So anyway, thanks for joining us. Have a good rest of your weekend, and we will see you next week.